Buffalo Common Councilwoman Zeneta Everhart is introducing legislation aimed at keeping guns out of private businesses in the city of Buffalo. This comes after News 4 Investigates reported a gun-related incident nearly a month ago at the Tops on Jefferson Avenue.
Two men were arrested for bringing ghost guns into the grocery store, exchanging them, and then waving them around at customers in a threatening way out in the parking lot. Both men are now facing weapons charges as a result. Zeneta now joins us after introducing these resolutions yesterday at City Hall. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
This is a serious topic, one that you openly and were quick to comment on when we broke this story on June 17th. How has it been? You were emotional then for such good reason because your son was there on 5/14. He was there again when this allegedly occurred. And your reaction was appropriate. How has it been since then?
You know what? For me, it really is about the community, right? I understand, I am an elected leader. I'm a community member. I understand, police officers and, commissioners and chiefs aren't going to call me every time there's a gun call or there's a, an issue with the gun, even though I do stay in regular communication with the chiefs, right, about shootings and things like that. But this is a different case, right? This is Tops on Jefferson. This is hollow ground. This is sacred ground. This is a space where 10 people were stolen from us and 3 others were injured, including my son. And so to hear that there were 2 people in this store with guns on the same day that my son was there, again, as a mother, it just...
Alarm bells.
It took me a minute to even respond to the news because I was so emotional about that. My son didn't even know it happened, and he was in the store, right? And so it really just comes down to public awareness, right? Like, we need the police in our community. We need them, right? And that's it. But we also need them to communicate, right? It's very simple, right? It's not rocket science. We just need them to communicate when things like this are happening in our neighborhoods. I shouldn't have to find out about this from a news reporter, right? A week and a day later. I didn't know on the day, even though people were saying like, oh, you knew. And it's like, I just, like, no, I did not know. Like, if I knew something like that, I would come out and speak out about it like I did when I found out. Right. And so it is disheartening that, these 2 gentlemen were in that store and they should have known better. Right? They should have known better, and then almost a block away, they're, getting to a confrontation with a young woman. It's like what our country, our world, our cities, our states are just, to me, in mayhem with these guns. And it's just too much. And people need to understand that we're all humans and we need to be here protecting each other.
Zeneta, whatever the topic is, you're always going to find a way to bring in education, right? So let's talk a little bit about this first resolution. You're looking for state guidance to help educate business owners. Talk a little bit about what you're calling.
Yeah, so a few years ago, our state legislature introduced legislation to ban guns from specifically grocery stores, right? But that law, it did pass through the New York State legislature, but it was struck down by the courts, right? And so, but with that, yes, it is technically legal to bring a gun onto the grounds of a business or a grocery store. However, if a business does not want guns in their store, on their property, they can post that. They can post something in their parking lot, in the windows of the store, inside of the store, to let people know that their guns are not welcome there. These are safety-free gun zones, right? And they have the right to do that. And that also helps the police, right? Because if there is nothing saying they can't bring a gun there, they can't charge you for it, for bringing a gun there. And so we need more businesses to get on board with that and post signs in your parking lots and in your windows saying you don't want guns on your property. And it's just that simple. And you are covered by the law.
The other part of this resolution is asking for Buffalo Police Commissioner Alfonso Wright to come before council and talk about this case. You may have answered this a little bit before, saying you want better communication.
Yeah.
What do you hope to hear from the commissioner if and when he comes in?
Absolutely. And the second resolution actually was introduced by my colleague, Councilman Wyatt. And so I do want to definitely give him his kudos and, thank him for his leadership in that way, asking for the commissioner and Buffalo Police to come in and address the council, because it people have to understand that when things like this happen, they don't call the police and complain about it. They don't even call the mayor's office and complain about it. They call the council members, right? And so they call us when these things happen. And so we need them to understand that they are our partner. And so we need the public to hear from them. The public should be able to hear from them about, response time and why they didn't, notify the public and things like that, because we can't tell the public why the police didn't respond because we didn't even know, right? And so that's really all it is. We want to make sure that the lines of communication remain open. They are our partners. I am in constant contact with our commissioner. I think he's an amazing guy. The police chief that covered the Maston district, C district, and E district, they are amazing. I'm always talking to them, right? And they're always doing amazing things in the neighborhood with residents and our youth. And so I just want to keep that going, right? Especially when we're talking about something like the Tops on Jefferson.
Very quickly before we let you go, Zeneta, is there a timeline for that first resolution? What's next?
Yeah, so both of those resolutions will be talked about next week in the Police Oversight Committee meeting.
That time, is that a Tuesday meeting?
Yes.
Sorry, Tuesday
yes.
in the afternoon?
Yes, it's either Tuesday or Wednesday, but
Tuesday or
yes.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Next week.
Excellent. Zeneta, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
We appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.